This is the news that people in the UK were waking up to on the morning after the referendum vote on June the 23rd.
Well, at 20 minutes to 5, we can now say the decision taken in 1975 by this country to join the common market has been reversed by this referendum to leave the EU. We are absolutely clear now that there is no way that the Remain side can win. It looks as though the gap's going to be something like 52 to 48, so a 4-point lead for leaving the EU.
David, say it as it is. An even bigger shock to me was the result in Birmingham, my home city, where a very diverse population consisting of around half white British produced a very close leave majority of 50.4%. As one of the 50.4%ers of Brummies that voted leave but expected the voting to go the other way, to say I was pleasantly surprised was an understatement. But was it such a surprise? In my vlogs I'll explain why I and many other working class voters turned their backs on the vast majority of experts, both politically and socially, and voted against the tide of expectations, the status quo, and some may say the common sense of the Remain camp. Before I go on to the policy battlegrounds such as immigration, sovereignty or the classic kick where it hurts protest to the Westminster elite, it may be better to explore the shifting sands of the political landscape in Birmingham that I've seen over the last 30 years. The first time I was eligible to vote was 1987, the time of Mrs Thatcher. This was the year the newcomer Rick Astley topped the charts with Never Gonna Give You Up. The year that Europe became closer to a political union with the Single European Act, the forerunner to the Maastricht Treaty of 1992. Aston Villa finished the 1987 season bottom of the table, though they did win 8 games and scored 45 goals then. They were promoted back to the top flight the following season, so fingers crossed for this season then. 1987 is also famous for one gaffe, and it didn't come from a politician.
Earlier on today, apparently, a woman rang the BBC and said she heard that there was a hurricane on the way. Well, if you're watching, don't worry, there isn't. But having said that, actually, the weather will become very windy, but most of the strong winds, incidentally, will be down over Spain and across into France as well.
Oh, Michael, you had one job to do. Yes, it was the Great Storm of 1987 that battered southern Britain. My first vote at the age of 19 went to Labour in the constituency of Birmingham Yardley. It was to no avail though. The seat stayed Tory blue, as did the country. You see, the constituencies in Birmingham at that time were quite a mixed bunch. You had your Labour strongholds in the north like Perry Bar, Erdington, Ladywood, and no one was going to shoehorn Claire Short out of that seat. But you also had your marginal seats like Yardley and Northfield, which were canvassed heavily by all parties. Then there were the strong Conservative seats such as Edgbaston and All Green. Whoever got these seats tended to have the keys to number 10. Birmingham at that time was a barometer to the mood of voters, and so it proved in 1997 when Tony Blair and New Labour took those seats and swept the Tories out of office. From this time, however, things changed. Boundary changes, year-on-year increases in mass immigration, and the somewhat inevitable white flight that followed, where wealthier residents who were more inclined to vote Tory or be a typical floating voter left to the outer suburbs such as Sutton Coldfield, Solihull, Meriden, or left the area outright. Since 1997, no Birmingham ward, with the obvious exception of leafy Sutton Coldfield, has gone the way of the Conservatives, and although the Liberals clung on to Yardley for a decade, they were annihilated last year, and now, despite the Tories being in government, the map of Birmingham looks exactly the same as when Labour came into power in 1997. So who speaks up for Birmingham from Westminster now? Not the Tories, that's for sure. To canvass for votes here is wasted, and marginal seats elsewhere in the country are better suited to them. It must be Labour then? Well, no. Birmingham to them is all sewn up. As the old saying goes, put a red rosette on a lamppost and the lamppost will get in on a majority. Perhaps he'll go to Westminster. Hell, he could even make it to the cabinet. And from there, the sky's the limit. Some of his policies may prove unpopular though. Sorry, I detracted from the point a little there. Why would Labour waste time and money here in Brum when there are marginal seats elsewhere in the country to contest for? And in fact, where are the marginal seats now? Well, they've moved from the urban inner city areas to the more affluent rural towns and outskirts, where worries such as immigration, housing shortages and public sector issues are not so acutely felt, and instead issues like tax breaks, economic stability and other middle class concerns hold sway with them and therefore politicians. Not good news for Jeremy Corbyn, mind. However principled and caring and helpful he is to the downtrodden masses, Middle England will now never vote for his left-wing political viewpoints, and he needs Middle England's vote or forever end up being a party of opposition. Perhaps you can now see why, within the space of 30 years, the working class in Birmingham and other urban cities for that matter feel disenfranchised with politics, politicians and feel their views are ignored by the ruling elite of any political persuasion, Conservative or Labour. Thank you for listening. My next vlog will be my opinion of the amalgamation and political wing clipping of the two main parties that I've seen over the last 30 years. See you next time. Bye.